some fight night.
And if you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
All right, my man. So sleeper number one of the night has to go to you because you have two fighters who I think I've individually made sleepers myself because I always kind of pick the lower weights and try to see the up-and-coming women fighters that we have in the UFC thus far. But these are two fighters who are kind of coming to a fork in the road. Two people who have kind of built up their career thus far. And now we're on that path now, AJ, where we're letting the young fighters kind of, meet in the middle and determine who's going to advance and who's going to stay back. So for that reason, women's flyweight bout, you have, let me make sure, women's bantamweight bout, you have Maeda Bueno Silva versus Stephanie Edgar. AJ, let's talk about it, brother. Why is this your sleeper? Talk to the people.
Man, Derek, not only is this a pivotal moment in both of these female fighters' career, this is going to be a very close fight. We were talking about it before. Edgar is the favorite, but Bueno Silva has a lot of heat going behind her, man. When she gets rolling, things get going, man. You saw in the Wu Yanan fight, it was a unanimous decision, but she's a scrapper, man. She's a scrapper of a fighter. Has a couple losses, Benon Fierro, has a draw to Matenda de la Rosa. There's ways in which Bueno Silva, she can be on fire, or she has an off night where it's not really going her way, but it still makes it a long and drawn out dogfight. And then you get Stephanie Edgar, man, and you were talking about it before. Hip toss, arm bar, we know the deal, man, and that's what Edgar does, man. She can snatch you up, toss you around, snatch an arm, snatch a limb, choke you out, whatever the case may be. She is a very dangerous woman on the ground, and you can see it right there, folks. A lot of people are going for decision on this one, but you can see that big chunk in the middle for Edgar, 12% by submission. It does make a big difference, man. This is going to be – I picked this fight when I saw it. First off, first fight of the night. You know how impactful those are always going. The fighters know it. Dana White's put a lot of emphasis saying if you're the first fight of the night, you better perform. Like you're here to lead off the card, right? You're here to perform, and they usually don't let us down. So I really like this fight for it because it's going to be so tightly contested. It's going to be a banger. I'm excited to see who this one was. And honestly, I don't really know who I'm kind of favoring for. At first, I'm thinking Edgar. Then I'm like, man, Bueno Silva, she is a dog in there. She can get things done. This one's going to be a highly contested fight. I'm very, very much looking forward to. Derek, who do you think is going to win?
Well, listen, I've been going back and forth all day because as you can see on the Tapology sheet, Stephanie Edgar is the fan favorite. If you look at the betting odds right now, I'll actually pull it up live odds. She is a minus 135 favorite, plus 115 comeback from Maeda Bueno Silva. But in a weird way, I felt like Bueno Silva should be the favorite. You know what I mean? She has more power. She's able to walk her opponent down. I think that if the fight hits the mat, she has good jiu-jitsu. The only problem with Stephanie Edgar with that judoka skill set is that she's going to want to stay in that top control and just rain down elbows and punches like she did against Shanna Young a few fights ago. So I don't know, man, because if you look at the losses of Maeda Bueno Silva, I mean, the Manon Fierro fight, that was kind of a rough one, but we're seeing that the beast is truly a beast, right? And then the other loss was to Marina Moroz, who is a high-level wrestler. So, I mean, this is still up in the air. I'll just say that. So I don't have a formal pick. Let's just say that even though I'm a big fan of Stephanie Edgar, I've been preaching her since the first fight in the UFC. I think Bueno Silva might be able to pull up the upset. I'll just leave that at that. All right, AJ, that was a solid sleeper. Now let me talk about mine real fast, brother. And today I want to highlight some controversy today. Just a touch of controversy. But these are going to be two big men swinging, banging the whole nine. The performance we're supposed to see from Derek Lewis and Sergey Pavlovich, yeah, we're going to see that except in the welterweight division. Now let's talk about it. So I want the Vanilla Gorilla, not Chase Sherman, but Jason Witt, the Vanilla Gorilla versus Josh Quinlan. And folks, I don't know if you know about both of these fighters, but look at Jason Witt, welterweight fighter, the Vanilla Gorilla. You look at his last outing, and it's not, I mean, listen, last five, admittedly, it's not the greatest, right? You have a loss to Philip Rowe. You got knocked out. In a fight that he was winning, you have a majority decision win against Brian Barberena, and we know that speaks volumes. Look at Brian Barberena, who just put Robbie Lawler out to pasture, right? You have a knockout loss to Matt Semmelsberger. That was that one-hitter quitter when Semmelsberger was on that two-fight streak of like 20-second KOs. A win against Cole Williams. That was a submission. That was a good win. And then a loss to Takashi Sato. So clearly, we're seeing that Jason Witt, he lives and dies by the finish. Like, he comes to finish fights. There's no, just going to sit and pitter-patter for a decision. He's coached by James Krause. I mean, listen, This dude comes and bring it. But Josh Quinlan, if you look at his last fight, he has a knockout win against Logan Urban that was overturned. And it was, I'm going to talk about that in a second. Just remember it was overturned. But if you look at the other wins, because he's 5-0 in his career, you have a submission win against Dallas Jennings, another KO win, a KO win, and a submission win. So both of these dudes bring it. Let's talk about this controversy for a second. So Jason Witt has already kind of mentioned this. Jason Witt, headline says he doesn't care about Josh Quinlan's PED history. I'm going to beat him anyways. I'm going to read this real fast, folks. Jason Witt is aware that his upcoming opponent recently popped for performance-enhancing drugs, but he's not concerned. Witt will face the UFC newcomer Josh Quinlan this Saturday on the prelim card of the UFC ESPN 40, UFC Vegas 59. The Vanilla Gorilla lost his latest clash when he was stopped by Phil Rowe, all that good stuff. But the whole entire quote, the point is, he says, I got no problem with him. Fuck him. If he wants to do steroids, let him do steroids. I'll whoop his ass on steroids. And what's he going to say? If you need performance-enhancing drugs to fight, I think you're a coward to begin with. If that's what you got to do, then that's what you got to, you know what I mean? That's fine. That's fine. I don't think that now he's in the UFC. I think USADA is probably going to crack down on him a little bit. I don't think he's going to be able to do whatever he wants to do. So I think they'll play a factor in his training and his recovery and all that stuff. I mean, they're known as performance-enhancing drugs for a reason. I don't think it's going to play much of a factor now. And if he's on steroids, I don't give a shit. I'm going to beat him anyways. So literally, folks, I know that was long drawn out and there was some bad grammar and pronunciation on that. But the whole entire point is you should be watching this fight simply just for the drama of it, the drama show. You know what I mean? Big drama show. Shout out Gennady Golovkin, because Jason Witt, like I said, he's going to bring it. Whether he gets knocked out or knocks him out, he's going to bring it, and you know there's some edge on it. A little similar, AJ. Do you remember when Tim Elliott was fighting Jordan Espinosa, and there was allegations of Jordan Espinosa being like a woman beater? And so Tim Elliott's whooping his ass, being like, oh, so you hit women, huh? While he's like punching his face in. I think there's going to be a little bit of that, where if Jason Witt, the good wrestler, right, if he can get Quinlan down and start dropping some ground and pound, he might hit him with the, oh, so what's up with those PEDs, bro? Those steroids. I thought you're supposed to, what you doing now? You ain't doing shit now. Getting an elbow dropped to your face. I will express, though, Quinlan can knock Jason Witt out. This could be very ugly for him, too. So, for that reason, that is your sleeper, 170 pounds, Jason Witt versus Josh Quinlan. Listen, man, if you don't know, now you know. And those are your sleepers. AJ, you got any comments on the big drama show?
Man, the big drama show is going to be a lot of fun to watch because Jason Witt, he is not really much of a talker, but you can tell he goes in there to scrap too, man, especially with the allegations going on, man. This is one of those fights where the UFC didn't need to set up a storyline. It set itself up. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely. And you got to imagine that as the pre-fight pressers go on, there's going to be a little more chippiness going into the fight. So stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned. And with that being said, those are your sleepers. And right before we jump into the main card, I do want to remind you one last time to drop a like, subscribe, share the show with your friends, but most importantly, subscribe to the show. 415 subscribers. That is, I mean, listen, that's great. We love you guys. We appreciate you. We love the comments. We love the interaction. I've been having actually a lot of interaction with you guys over on the videos recently, so I applaud and appreciate you for that. But I think 450 sounds like a better number than 415 personally. So let's get to 450 and then move our way on up from there. You know what time it is. It's your favorite fighters, favorite fight show. Best place, your premier source for your wagering odds analysis, the whole nine. You do.